Former police chief Chris Burbank says what makes these calls so dangerous for police is they're often made by a third party. Because of that, the information is often limited and officers show up sometimes in the middle of a fight.
Anyone who is willing to perpetrate violence against someone they love and care for is really a dangerous person for that third-party police officer to step in the middle of.
Unfortunately, domestic violence calls are all too common for officers. That's something that hasn't changed since former police chief Chris Burbank retired around 5 years ago.
The challenge that we have is this falls to a police problem. And it's not a police problem. This is a societal problem that's a health and well-being problem long before it becomes a police issue.
This morning's call came in too late, says Burbank. If police had known about the situation earlier, maybe the outcome could have been different.
If police officers had a better tool in the front end, so when they show up and it doesn't rise to you're making arrests or anything like that, but here's the resource to get you the help that you need.
30 years ago, Burbank says police would have showed up to tell the family to cut it out. Now law mandates interception, which Burbank says has helped. What does not help, Burbank says, is when guns are drawn.
I never want a firearm to be used as a tool for other purposes than that moment in time when you absolutely have to use it and there's no alternative, because that is your last resource. And unfortunately, the perception often is that's your first.
Ultimately, Burbank says domestic violence is a failure of society, of health and well-being, and the lack of confidence in officers and in the public makes it worse.
There's horrible circumstances on both sides of this issue that we need to get beyond.
Now, Burbank says most domestic violence issues start very small, usually with manipulation or oppression before it ever escalates to something violent. He says if you are experiencing anything on that spectrum, he hopes that you will seek help or call for someone else who may need it. Live in Salt Lake City, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Yes, Aaron, absolutely. Once again, if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there's help available. Call the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition. It's a toll-free call. Their number is 1-800-897-5465.